Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. And for those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Amy and this is Thrift Adventure. Today I'll be doing a ship with me video. In these videos, I go day to day and I share the different items I'm shipping out. So sometimes it'll look like the video is over, but typically there are a few more clips to come. And you want to be sure to watch all the way to the end because I always have interesting and unique items and I'm sure you can learn something, some new things to keep your eyes out for when you're out thrifting. These sales are from over the weekend, so Saturday, Sunday, and today's Monday. So a couple things this morning. It was a wonderful weekend for me. I am so excited. So let's get started. The first item sold on Chairish.com, and it is this vintage Blenko, B-L-E-N-K-O ashtray. This company makes different types of colored glass, and certain pieces can be quite desirable and high valued. This was one of the more lower valued items. It sold for $71. It also had a small little chip somewhere, but I looked at comps and that was in line with what these sell for. This is a consignment piece. For those of you who haven't watched before, I don't always do consignment, but when I do a 50-50 split after website fees. So that made my cost of goods $28.35. That's what I'll pay my consignor, and then my profit $28.35. Not a home run, but I am glad to move this out, and I think the consignor will be happy with that. I'm gonna package this up off camera. And then the next item that sold was another really great sale. This is a pair of vintage Prada, I think these, maybe not kitten heels, but a little bit lower heel. They're silk with this interesting floral detail. These ended up selling for $260. I am thrilled with that. I don't always have the best luck selling designer shoes. So as you saw last week, I sold a couple pairs of Ferragamos for pretty low prices compared to what they retail for. I lucked out and I got these at the Goodwill for $5. I think they must have had some new people pricing because I got these and a pair of Jimmy Choos for $4.99 each one day. I just could not believe it. It just shocked me that they somehow missed that these were Prada. So that was awesome. These sold on Poshmark. So after Poshmark fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $203. That's awesome. I love having big profits. I'm also going to package those up off camera because I'm going to add a little bit extra bubble wrap and fancy stuff to it. Okay, another really great sale that I'm kind of surprised it sold for this much is this really beautiful wreath brooch. And it has these iridescent crystals. Sorry, I have a Band-Aid on my finger. I caught a big sliver this weekend. I haven't been able to get it out yet, but this sold for $53. It is not marked or signed by any makers, but it's just a really beautiful piece. And I priced it high just because it looked like such nice quality and I loved the colors. I picked this up for $3. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $37.38. I don't always have that great of profits on brooches, but if it's a really beautiful, nice quality piece, I will sometimes try and start by pricing it a little bit higher to see if I can get a higher price for it. And this one, it worked out. I think the buyer liked this, and then I sent them either 10%, yeah, I think 10% off with discounted shipping. So that was a really great sale. The next item that sold is this Nautilus shell pendant. It also has a really pretty iridescent quality to it, and it is set in sterling silver. I always like to use keywords like iridescent in my title. because sometimes people will be looking for specifically that word. This sold for $45. I also thought that was a pretty great, excuse me, a pretty great price for that. I had only paid $1 for this at an estate sale. This was one of those things that the estate sale company had priced higher. They had it priced at $10 the first day, and I passed on it. And I went back the last day, and she had all the jewelry, or most of the jewelry, marked down to $1. So I picked up a lot of stuff that day, the things that she had priced too high that were still left. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $35. 4 belt sales over the weekend, and all different types. So if you haven't watched my videos before, or if you have been and you haven't tried out belts yet, go do it. They are great sellers. This is a vintage Western style belt. It was pretty distressed, but it's by Justin brand, and it's a size 42. So I always pick up Western style belts, and I like picking up belts that are a little bit larger size also. And for some reason, I priced this at $55 to start out with. And normally I start my belts at $39. So I can't remember if I did some research and saw that this could be worth more, but the buyer offered me $50. So I went ahead and accepted it. I was very excited when I got that offer. I was like, $50? I didn't remember pricing it up at $55, but I'm really happy. And it didn't take really that long to sell, maybe a month or so. I bought a whole bunch of belts on my last trip, and my average cost of goods ended up being $3 per belt. So after Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $37. That is really a great profit on a belt for me. Typically, I don't make quite that much, so I'm super excited. Another Western style belt. This is a nice thick black leather. It's size 40. This was only listed for a week or two. It didn't have a name brand or anything on it, and it sold for $33. I think with discounted shipping, I sent out 20% off offers with just $5.95 discounted shipping on everything in my closet. So quite a few of these sales came from that. So this sold for $33. Did I just say that? I can't remember. I had only paid $2 for it. Let's see, I just ran out of tape. So that made my profit $24.40. Another really great profit that I am thrilled with, and I just love selling belts, you know, as a bread and butter item, which means an item that you can easily find and sell quickly and consistently in your closet, but that doesn't necessarily sell for a huge price typically. Oh gosh, dang it. Now that tape is splitting. For those of you who have been watching my videos for a long time, you know that I have had tape struggles on and off. And I thought I had resolved it. I taped it down, and that has worked. So I think I'm going to pause the video for a second and work out that tape. Just 1 second. Okay, I got it worked out. Hopefully it doesn't cause any more problems. Okay, the next is another belt. This is also Justin brand, I believe, and it had these cool little details on it. I really liked this belt, and actually I hoped that it would sell for a little bit more. But as I've been saying, I am motivated to accept reasonable offers and try and kind of move out some items so that I am not overwhelmed with so much stuff. But I say that it's also so that I can buy more inventory I think it's just good to have new inventory coming and going, and it feels good to, you know, cycle through things. So this sold for $28. I had paid $5 for it. So that made my profit $17.40. Still a nice little profit, and I am not going to complain about that at all. Okay, and the last belt for today is this cream leather belt with a gold tone buckle. I think this is probably from maybe the 80s or 90s, but it was a nice quality belt in nice condition. I do pretty well with cream and white belts typically. They typically sell relatively quickly for me. So I always pick them up if they are in nice condition. This one sold for $35. Just for, you know, it's a pretty simple piece. I had paid only $1 for this at an estate sale. So that made my profit $24.98. So that just over the weekend is over $100 in profit just from belt sales. So that is really, really great to add on to any other sales that you already have. The next item is this pair of black leather booties. These are by Rag & Bone. You can't really tell in the pictures, but they kind of had a little bit of distressed look to them. But I picked them up at the bins. So that's the reason that I got them. I saw them and I could tell that it was a nice quality leather. And then I looked at the brand, and sure enough, Rag & Bone is a great brand. So I got them. They sold for $44, I think with discounted shipping. And I paid about $1 for them because, like I said, they were at the bins. Let's see, I'm gonna zip up that zipper. I've kind of not been picking up kind of leather booties as much unless they're really affordable. Just for a couple of reasons. They haven't been selling as quickly for me. And I had my shoe rack and shoe area were overflowing. So I was trying to sell off some of the shoes I already had before I purchased more. So I only paid about $1 for these. After Posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $32.18. I think that's pretty great. Those took a little while to sell, but not a super long time. This is kind of a fun sale. This is a vintage Woolrich sweater. You can tell it has the older tag, and this is kind of a thicker paper size tag. This sold for, let's see here, $47. I think that is pretty great. I picked this up over the summer at an estate sale. If you haven't watched my videos, I'm very fortunate that one of our estate sale companies oftentimes prices all clothing at $1 a piece. So you'll hear me say that I paid $1 for things, clothing pieces, and that's why, because I always get to her sales early, sometimes 2-3 hours early, to wait in line to make sure that I am first in to get the good stuff. Usually I hit the jewelry first, so a lot of the other resellers had already been through the closet at this sale, but no one had picked up this Woolrich sweater. So I got it for $1 and sold it for $47. So that made my profit $34.58. Let's see, my sticker somehow fell off of that when I was putting it in there. So I don't have a bins near me, so that going to estate sales is an easier way for me to get things for affordable prices, because the closest bins is about an hour away and I don't head over there too much. Okay, the next item that sold is this North Face kind of raincoat, ski shell jacket. It's not, you know, it doesn't have a thick liner, and it has kind of more of this thing on the hood like a raincoat would. This ended up selling for $43. North Face is, in general, doesn't sell for super high prices for me unless it is one of their more expensive items. But I will still pick it up if it is priced right. This, I think, I bought when our Goodwill had the grand reopening of their new location, and I was just grabbing stuff like crazy. So I paid $12 for this, which is more than I would typically pay. But that still left me with a nice little profit of $22.40. Probably wouldn't pay $12 for something like this under normal circumstances. But even if I did, you know, that's still a nice little profit. And as I've said before, I try and keep my minimum expected profit to $25. Of course, that doesn't always, you know, work out. You don't know what something's going to sell for. But I am happy with that $22 profit. Okay, the next item that sold is this vintage kind of macrame purse. I just thought this was really fun and cute and boho. I've had this listed for quite a while, maybe over a year. And I had, you know, marked it down and sent out offers and relisted it and didn't get any bites. So I got an offer for $15 on it, and I decided just to go ahead and accept it. I had paid $3 for this, so that still left me with a profit of $9, which isn't amazing, but it is what it is, and I'm happy to move it out. I also was open in my the retail side of my store this weekend. So if you're new here, I also sell vintage furniture and home decor locally. And it was a pretty good weekend. The reason I was open was because we had a harvest festival out in the area where this building is. And so there was a lot of people that came through. I ended up selling $175 worth of items, some glassware, a vase, or a couple of vases. So I was happy that I ended up being open. Let's see. So my total cost of goods for that $175 worth of sales was $16. That's great. So that made my profit, sorry, I didn't have this figured out, like $159. So I'm very excited about that. I also had another dealer from Seattle come and buy a couple of pieces of furniture from me. And I did get a video that I will put after this of the pieces that I sold. I wasn't sure if he was going to buy them, so in the video I tell you that I'll tell you how much they sold for afterwards, but I'm telling you before. So I sold them to him for $900 for all of the pieces, which is a smoking deal, but they all needed to be refinished. And I understand that he is going to put that work in and he's going to make a profit. So I decided to just go ahead and make that deal with him. The Broyhill Brasilia is more desirable in his area, and it's harder to sell when it is in poor condition like the pieces that I had. So he paid $900. I had a total of $320 into all the pieces. So I made a profit of $580, which is wonderful and amazing. I do have a lot of furniture right now too, so I was happy to move some of that out so that I can just have a little bit more space. And I know that he will make a hefty profit on them, and that is just fine. I made a nice profit on them, and I don't have to, you know, photograph or refinish or list or ship any of that. So I'm just going to take my $580 and run. I hope there will be one more clip after this. I am heading, it's Monday, and I'm heading to Palm Springs on Wednesday. I'm so excited. I'm going on a girls trip with some of my friends from college. So I am going to ship one more time tomorrow. So like I said, hopefully I have some more sales. If not, T-Bird will do an outro, and this will be kind of a short video, but I'm sure you guys will understand. Maybe I'll add some clips from my Palm Springs trip. I'm not sure. I'm going to do a little bit of thrifting, so I might do an independent video. But if you are enjoying this type of video, I would love it if you would subscribe. It really helps me out if you ring the bell. That way you won't miss any of my future uploads. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Here is the furniture that I sold to another dealer. This is Broyhill, Brasilia. So if you see this furniture while you're out thrifting and it is affordable, I would definitely pick it up. It can be quite desirable in some areas. So I sold this to him at wholesale pricing because the pieces are in need of refinishing, and I do not refinish. So I will give you the details of how much I sold it for and what my profit was in just a second. Hey again, it's Tuesday, and I have two more things to ship out. Not quite as crazy good sales as over the weekend, but I am happy nonetheless. So the first item that sold is this teeny tiny little vintage Spanish charm, and it has like an enamel decoration on it. This sold for $24, which I was thrilled with. I like to pick up charms if I can find them for under $2. Typically, I prefer to only pay $1. This one I only paid $1 for. Sometimes I will pick up charm bracelets at thrift stores and estate sales. When I first started reselling online, I would list the whole charm bracelet with all the charms on it. And I just found that I never really felt like I got as much as it was worth. So I started removing the charms and selling each charm individually and then the bracelet on its own also, because I can typically get between $12 and about $30 for those charms. Now the $30 ones are ones that are a lot more unusual. I'm kind of surprised that that one sold for $24, but maybe it was a more unusual piece. So it sold for $24. I paid $1, which made my profit $18.20 after fees. I think that's amazing. You know, and you'll see those sterling silver charm bracelets sometimes at thrift stores and at estate sales. I typically only like to pick up the ones that are sterling silver, but sometimes if it's unique subject matter, I will pick up non-sterling silver ones. Okay, the next item that sold is this vintage kind of southwestern belt. Now, I really thought this was a cool piece, and it was listed for a really long time. I don't know why it took so long to sell, but I got an offer for $20, so I happily accepted that. I had paid $3 for this. So after posh fees and my cost of goods, that made my profit $13. That's just fine. Again, I'm happy to move out older inventory. Oh, today I slipped on this vintage Christian Dior little track jacket. It has Dior embroidered right here. It's kind of a velour material. And this is for sale in my Posh closet, although I think it's pretty cute. So I hope I don't change my mind and decide to keep it. But I picked this up at an estate sale years and years ago and listed it somewhat recently. Actually, I found another similar one at a small town thrift store and it sold pretty quickly. So anyways, just thought I'd wear something that's for sale for fun. Okay, so this turned out to be an amazing week, mostly because, well, mostly because of the furniture sales that I had. But I did also have almost $1,000 in, maybe $800 in sales on Poshmark. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. My total sales for the week were $1,840. That is the kind of week that I want to have every week, don't we all? But you know, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not so great. My total cost of goods was $404.35, and my total profit after fees, cost of goods, and any shipping discounts was $1,272.87. Yes, I finally exceeded my $1,000 profit goal for the week, which is always my goal. Also, I had one sale as a result of promoted listings on Poshmark. I pay $20 per week to promote my closet. It was that men's Western coat that I sold for $100. So after fees, that ends up being an extra $60 worth of sales from the promoted listings. I think I'm going to leave it going while I am on vacation for the next 5 days, and then I may turn it off when I get back and see how it affects my sales, and then report back, because it is resulting in more sales, but it's not like profound or anything. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this type of video, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you won't miss any of my future uploads. All right, I will see you guys next week when I'm back from vacation. Hopefully I'm all tan and relaxed.